In June 2011, a 27-year-old law graduate, Lauren Giddings, was murdered in cold blood. The various parts of her strangled and dismembered body were found in trash cans outside her apartment in Macon, Georgia. Before her painful death, she was thoughtful and widely known for her incredible kindness. Her outlook on life was so positive, and she could only see the best in other people. Her family greatly admired all of Lauren's achievements. She was ambitious, driven, and full of energy, so a legal career made perfect sense for her. Lauren had a neighbor and classmate named Stephen McDaniel. Stephen's family called him Mr. Clean because of how neat and smart he dressed. Stephen admired the likes of Abraham Lincoln and Thomas Jefferson from a young age. In high school, he worked very hard, and it paid off. After graduating high school, he joined Lauren Giddings in the same class at Mercer Law School. Stephen had his sights set on becoming a federal judge one day. All he needed was to pass the Georgia bar exam to be officially certified to practice law. But did Stephen later fulfill his dreams? Furthermore, Stephen was among those who participated actively in the search for Giddings when she went missing before her actual death. The big question is, how could a law school graduate with a promising future disappear without a trace, only for her dismembered body to be found in a nearby trash can? What could have happened to her? Who killed Lauren Giddings, and for what reason? Was the murderer caught? Where are they now? Let's find out. But before we proceed, please kindly hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you'll be the first to know anytime we drop a new video. Stephen McDaniel was born in 1989 to a low-income family. His parents went from pillar to post to cater to the family, especially him. His parents both worked in factories to make ends meet. Stephen hated school and frequently skipped classes. Worse still, he enjoyed bullying people at school, particularly the girls. Nevertheless, Stephen completed high school and made it to Mercer Law School, where he became Lauren Giddings' classmate and neighbor. He reportedly asked Giddings out on a date, but she declined politely because she was seeing someone else at the time. Giddings had a boyfriend named David Van Diver, who was 20 years her senior. But Lauren didn't mind the age difference because she liked David so much. It was reported that she was always polite when declining Stephen's dates. Little did she know that Stephen was madly obsessed with her. Sadly, 1 week after Stephen asked Giddings out for the last time, she went missing. Days before she went missing, Giddings had spent the summer enjoying herself after graduating from law school. She had no idea that her next-door neighbor had other plans for her. Giddings sent her boyfriend an email the night before she died, expressing her suspicion that she was being monitored. She revealed that her house had recently been the target of a break-in attempt. Nonetheless, she never felt that her life was truly in danger. Giddings had informed her family and friends just days before her death that she would be offline for several weeks to focus solely on her studies. At that time, when her sister Caitlin Wheeler called, Giddings barely answered the phone. Typically, when Lauren missed her sister's phone calls, she would call or text back later. But this time, the sister did not receive a call back or a message. Caitlin was worried, so she contacted Giddings' friends. Unfortunately, even her friends had not seen or heard from her in a long time, so they decided to investigate the matter. They observed her vehicle in the parking lot when they arrived at Giddings' apartment. However, when they knocked and rang the doorbell, there was no sound. Someone familiar with Giddings knew where her spare key was kept. They used the key to enter her apartment, and guess what? She was nowhere to be found. So what could have happened to Lauren? Did she disappear on purpose? Let's find out. The police arrived at Giddings' apartment immediately, but there were no signs of forced entry. During the preliminary investigation, neither blood nor anything suspicious was observed. But when the cops sprayed luminol in the bathroom, the floor, walls, and bathtub lit up. Giddings' apartment became a crime scene. A strong odor led the police to the trash cans as they searched the perimeters of the building. There was a foul stench, like a decomposing body oozing from the environment. When they emptied the trash, they found that Lauren's body had been wrapped in a plastic sheet. One of the detectives stated that he had never encountered anything similar to this during his career. It was a horrible plan and an awful way to kill someone. After Lauren's remains were discovered, her murderer, Stephen McDaniel, attempted to cover everything up. When he gave an interview to a local news station, he pretended to be a worried friend who was unaware of what had happened to his classmate. However, his attitude changed when he learned that her body had been discovered. He seemed to have seen a ghost. He blinked several times and shook his head slightly. He repeatedly opened and closed his mouth as if he lacked ideas for what to say. Was he speechless as a result of the passing of his neighbor? Or was it because Giddings' body was found despite his efforts to hide the truth? This interview raised suspicions about him. Later, he allowed police into his apartment. The investigator stated that Stephen had a master key to every apartment. Subsequently, he admitted to breaking into 2 separate apartments and stealing a condom from each. Police arrested him and had him investigated. Following his arrest, investigators conducted a more thorough investigation of Stephen's apartment. It led them to discover hacksaw packaging, Lauren's DNA-stained underwear, and numerous flash drives. These drives contained pornographic images of children. There was also a blood-stained sheet. Following tests, it was discovered that the blood on the sheet belonged to Lauren. Furthermore, upon searching through his laptop, the police discovered damning evidence. His internet history revealed that he visited Giddings' social media pages frequently, even searching for violent pornography while viewing her photos. Due to his possession of the master key, Stephen was able to enter and exit Giddings' apartment at will. On August 2, 2011, Stephen McDaniel was charged with the murder after he was accused of being responsible for the death of his classmate. Furthermore, he was charged with 7 counts of sexual assault on a minor. In Stephen's confession, he admitted to killing Lauren. He claimed that he had broken into her apartment with the help of the master key. He stood there and watched her sleep, but when he got closer to her, a noise from the bed woke her up. She told him loudly to get out of her house. Stephen then jumped on her, pressed her throat very tightly, and strangled her to death. Giddings fought hard to remain alive, but eventually died. Stephen then dragged her lifeless body to the bathroom and went home. Later that night, he returned to Lauren's apartment to cut her body into smaller pieces with the hacksaw, making disposal easy. He told the police that the rest of her body was in another dumpster. However, it was never recovered. Did Stephen escape the weight of the law? No, he was given a life sentence in prison. All thanks to Giddings' sister Caitlin and her friends for the swift action they took. However, this story doesn't end there. As days turned into years, in February 2018, Stephen requested a new trial. In a 73-page document submitted to Richmond County Superior Court, he argued that his constitutional rights were violated throughout the investigation and pretrial procedure. In his petition, he claimed that his lawyer's negligence in disputing the matter in court prevented him from getting a fair trial. Stephen also alleged that the police conducted an illegal search of his apartment and failed to inform him promptly of his rights. Stephen's appeal was later denied. He is currently being held at the Hancock State Prison in Georgia. Even though Lauren Giddings' parents never saw her achieve her dream goal of being a certified lawyer, her legacy will continue to live on. In memory of Lauren Giddings, the Association of Women Law Students at Mercer Law hosts an annual memorial. Additionally, her undergraduate institution, Agnes Scott College, also holds an annual softball game and memorial walk in her honor. Do you think Stephen McDaniel murdered Lauren because she turned down his date offer? Or could there be other ulterior motives he didn't disclose to authorities? Kindly share your views in the comment section below. As always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.